Dewey.
Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm a little sleep deprived from U.S. Open and late night, and but not as sleep deprived as my cohorts on the East Coast that have gotten sucked into these late matches. I'm sure.
Yeah, it's prime time for you. And well, everyone, welcome to Tennis Takeaways with Lisa and Dewey. And I'm Dewey Evans. I'm a tennis evangelist here in Austin, Texas. And my co-host.
Lisa Stone with Parenting Aces. I'm a tennis parent who is a tennis junkie and writes and talks and podcasts about all things junior and college tennis. And we're thrilled that you're joining us this week for Tennis Takeaways. And Dewey, we've got a guest this week.
Yes, Alex Johansson. Many of you know him through Tennis Techie. If you want to know about the things that are most current in technology and tennis, this is the person that you want to experience. And here he is. How you doing, Alex? Oh,
It's exciting times for technology. Things are starting to happen after COVID, I feel, even though it's going to be a little bit rough for facilities, money-wise. People are starting to look at technology, so it's exciting.
And you're
well,
on the cutting edge of it. Yeah, we're so excited to have you here and pick your brain a little bit and hear what you're up to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have
yeah,
you been watching
absolutely.
the U.S. Open at all? That because we technology has been jumping in. I know that there's been some things where the players could interact with a fan or a brother. I think Misha Zverev and his Sasha were kind of having a chat at the end virtually. What
Yeah,
do you think
And
about the
Naomi
technology?
Osaka, Naomi Osaka with her
yeah, yeah,
mom too. Yeah, so cool.
yes, yeah. No, I think they're getting innovative, obviously, in these times, and that's reflected in US Open as well. I'm really glad they're pulling off the tournament at all. But I do feel like many things within technology and communication has has already started to improve thanks to COVID. So very excited about that. I haven't watched as much as I wish because I'm running a tennis academy and we are about to hit the indoor season of all things right now. So
I hear you there. So, question about technology, and you've been a technology evangelist for a good length of time, and I would say ahead of the curve. And have you found that this pandemic has opened people's eyes to some of the things that were possible where they may have been resistant before?
yes, absolutely, and in particular to actually try the things out. And as always, I feel it's the same thing in coaching. And playing tennis, we do things out of necessity, right? So I think that really has happened now. As soon as the pandemic hit, there were many coaches that were forced to try to find alternative ways of staying in touch with the students, being of value to the students, and hopefully even getting paid a little bit. And so many things ended up happening. There was Zoom classes of tennis, which I've never seen be done before. We ended up doing some for our academy, and it worked out very well. It was a way to stay connected with the students. So, and of course, video analysis I feel has started to pick up a little bit. I think people are looking at it, and there were a lot of courses created, a lot of material created because people had time at home. So a lot of experimentation, which for me is probably the number one thing that I love seeing, because there is technology out there in tennis, but there has been very little experimentation by the average coach and work on actual processes of implementing them. So I would say COVID kickstarted it for many coaches now, out of necessity.
Do you think that that has opened the door for technology to really take off now? Because I feel like tennis has been traditionally so far behind the curve, but the coaches were resistant, the parents were resistant, the players were resistant. We've seen innovations, hit the market and quickly disappear because nobody's embraced them. But do you feel like
Yes.
COVID has kind of opened the door maybe for these technologies to come back and really explode?
Yeah, I still think it will take a little bit of time. Two basic reasons. I think, obviously, in terms of spendable money by clubs, that's not really that great right now. And then the other one, the craving of actually being together more initially after coming out of this lockdown. But having said that, I do think moving forward, it will somewhat still kickstart it. And I think so many coaches have now looked at it and started playing around with it. So I think once we come out of this, the economic phase of it, I do expect it to improve quite a bit. And I think it's just like, I think looking at Zoom calls, right? I think like in any walk of life, like those could have been done very frequently before, and they weren't. And there were many people that didn't know how to make a Zoom call, and now virtually everybody knows how to, and they realize that we can cut out 50% of the travel. So I think it's just been translating into tennis big time because it was so little used before.
Yeah, I suspect with the elementary school kids having to use the technology for school this past spring, some of them still needing to use it now, they will have grown up and become more comfortable with it. They will actually demand it as part of the mix between virtual and bricks and mortar. I think that hybrid model is one that's going to be part of life for this new generation of kids coming up. And consequently, tennis has an opportunity or a necessity to keep up with those types of things. And I know that you, Alex, have been staying current on technology and looking at some new things. And we have a product of yours that I saw online, and it kind of fascinated me. My brain just kind of went, and I think we have some video of it, but you want to talk to us about what you're doing and the product?
Yeah, sure. So I saw this interactive wall about 2 years ago. It's a company out of Germany called Multiball. And I was thinking that would be absolutely fantastic for tennis, because essentially it's like a gigantic iPad that detects any ball. So long story short, I decided to get together with some people and create an application specifically for tennis that sits on top of this extremely solid hardware of Multiball and their platform and infrastructure. So it's essentially the backboard 2.0 in my mind.
Good. Well, why don't we take a quick look at the video?
Yeah, sure.
It is an interactive tennis wall. I grew up against a blank one, but this is way more fun. Check it out. Here we go. So as you see, it moves, it shrinks. That is in our play mode. There are test modes and there are practice modes and many different modules and kinds of targets. We're very excited to bring you this. It lives on a very solid hardware called Multiball.
That's pretty cool.
It's really
Yeah,
cool.
I'm very excited. Thank you. Yeah, I'm very excited about it. Sorry,
So,
go ahead.
So
did
how
you
are
come up with
people
the
using? Oh,
application? Yeah.
Yeah,
Didn't
so
mean to step on you, Lisa.
it's okay.
no. Essentially, I mean, I've thought about, you know, what it could be like if there was an interactive backboard one day. I probably thought about that 10 years ago or so, when you're starting to see technologies merging, etc. But once I saw that this hardware was ready for this, then really it was trying to collect all the years of playing and coaching, and my education was graphic design, so that helps out a little bit in terms of the thinking for this medium, and try to really put together something that's initially very simple and productive, intuitive, which I'm excited about that part. The medium itself is very intuitive, and the application so far has been intuitive as well when people have tried it. So we're starting with the basics, and we're hoping to go from there. Got some great people on the team. I want to do some great things with applications moving forward. So.
Is this a product that you anticipate people will incorporate into their home workout regimen, or will it just be for clubs, or what are you thinking?
I think initially, it's about it will be at the clubs, on the club level. There is a home version of the multi-ball wall that's 11 by 8 feet, and the really big one, and there are 3 sizes. The really big one is 16 by 11 feet, and there is one in between that. So I think initially, it will be at clubs, but if somebody has the home version in their garage, they can certainly use the games that come with the multi-ball units, and they can add on the RAQTS application. So yeah, hopefully in the future, some people will have it at home as well. But initially, we're thinking club. And and I forgot to say that, but initially we have some play modes, we have some test modes, which we're excited about as well, and some training modes. So it's very much a tool right now, and obviously adding interactivity and having fun.
Okay, so this isn't a $9.95 app that you're going to buy, in the Apple App Store. What are we talking about price point wise for something like this?
It's probably from the one that would fit in a 1-car garage. You're probably looking at 8,000, something like that, and then it goes up from there. So yeah, it's not super cheap, but if you look at golf simulators, some of those are 60, 80,000. So it's not absolutely crazy. You can do a lot of things with this if you have it at a tennis facility. And we have our demo at a kids tennis facility, and that is an area that I'm very excited about initially.
Yeah, I look at it and I think there's lenses and cameras that cost more than that. So, it's it's expensive, but it's not over the top expensive for somebody who's already spending $70,000, $80,000 a year for their kids' tennis. Having this and being able to practice in the garage on rainy days and have it be more than just putting a piece of tape on the wall and focusing on hitting the tape, is well worth it.
Yeah, and it's one of the things to make. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, can you talk about its use in the realm of junior development? Because Dewey and I are focused on, junior and college age play, and to me, this is such a cool apparatus tool to use in the whole junior development process to gauge progress and, test learning and all of that.
Yes, so that's what we will be working on now. So we're initially going to have some pioneer partners that we'll be working with in terms of clubs that will use it, and we'll be working on, like I said before, processes, things like that, right? Now, one of the most exciting things about it is that it's tangible. You know if you got better, which is inherently very difficult in our sport with the different kinds of surfaces and opponents, etc. We all know we can play great and lose against somebody, and then it can be complete flip-flopped the next day. So in this case, it's more true feedback. You know if you got more accurate in different ways, and then we're also hoping we're going to be able to detect improvement opportunities, because somebody might be very good at one particular mode or targets, whereas they might have lower scores in something else. So yes, and I think initially bringing little kids in the door, I think that everybody that's tried it, they're very excited, obviously, seeing something like that, and it comes with some other games too that are very good for the little kids. So that's a really good thing, and you can definitely, like you saw in the video there, I did it with my little kids, but you can definitely incorporate it, and I think now, actually, initially a lot of people knowing this medium were a little bit worried about with COVID, but I think at least being able to keep 2 kids on it pretty safely, you can do that.
Well, you have a pretty high pedigree team that you've put together. I was on your website and looking at the people that you're working with to bring this product to market. Can you tell us about some of the other people that are involved in this?
Yeah, sure. It's the main ones when it comes to the product itself is it's Mark Kovacs and Mike Barrell. So Mark is very much into the science piece of things. So he's going to be helping out a lot when it comes to the statistics and that portion of it. And Mike Barrell is a leader in the world of 10 and under tennis and club programming. So we feel we have extremely strong people on the team that can help out and trying to do it right, because that's my thing. I want it to be productive. I never personally come at it from the commercial end of things, for good or bad. But I want it to function in reality and be productive and hopefully contribute to the tennis world.
Will there be
and
a
small
coach's
versions of tennis as well?
Yeah. Will there be a coach's education piece to this, so that the coaches are learning, different ways to use the tool to aid in development?
Yeah. So initially, like I said, with the pioneer partners, we'll be communicating a lot with them, and that will be part of what we will be doing with them, sharing and learning, and then obviously taking it from there. And yes, absolutely, that's something we see in the future as a big piece of it.
So you mentioned
at the same time as we want the coaches to feel like they have the power to use the tool. We're certainly not going to lock them into this is how you have to do it, because it is a tool, and we want them to feel that way. They can use it the way they want, but obviously there'll be a lot of options and possibilities that we can share with them, and some best practices.
So you talked about a unit that could fit in a garage and some other size units. Is this an indoor installation only, or can it be installed both indoors and outdoors?
These ones are indoor ones. They're projection based. So these are indoor units. There are LED versions for outdoors. It's the bigger versions only right now, and they are pricey. I don't actually know the exact price of that right now. That would be a question for multi-ball. So there is a possibility, but pricey.
So it's largely for environments that have indoor courts or someplace or people's homes, right? So someplace in Texas, an outdoor only facility probably wouldn't be a good place to be looking at this point in time.
No, not unless you want to buy the LED version, correct? But I would also say, and I could definitely see in the future people have dedicated spaces for this, whether they're normally an outdoor facility or not. But obviously indoors, and part of how I would love to see this one day is even in our basic square-shaped facilities, that one or two of these units will live on a side wall and be incorporated into the training. And especially if you have little kids, you can have 3 little courts and one of these on one of the courts, and then obviously you could rent it out as you would for like you would a ball machine if you wanted to, and you can do birthday parties, all kinds of things. So.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's technology that's just gonna blow people's minds.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get home to Massachusetts so that I can come stop by your facility and
Yes.
get a look at it myself. Another reason
Yes,
to make
anytime.
a trip home. So,
Yeah, anytime.
what other innovative things are you involved in, or do you see coming down the road here in the next little bit?
Nothing extreme. I think there has been a lot of attempts at one camera systems for match statistics, and that seems to be moving forward quite well. I know there is a company, I have zero affiliation with them, they're called Swing Vision, and they have some big names involved. It looks like they're doing a good job. I cannot vouch for accuracy or anything like that, but it seems like they have it down to where you can put one phone up and it's charting the match for you. And there's also some other innovative things they're doing that I think will help them bring it to more people, which is you can essentially practice shadow practice and hit targets that are on the screen, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had those guys on my podcast a few months ago before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Really cool technology. Very cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I have to just show you my screensaver. I'm not sure. Can you see?
Oh, very nice. Thank you. Yeah.
That's you. Every time my phone comes on.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, you can get those on the website. I just made those for fun. So. Awesome.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It
looks awesome. Alex, if people wanted to know more about this, the wall, or other things that you're doing, where is it that they could get some more information?
Yeah, either go to tennistechie.com or RAQTS.com. That's RAQTS. And when it comes to news on technology, the best place is actually the Facebook page for Tennis Techie. That's kind of the news portion of the Tennis Techie website. We're also on Instagram, but that would be the best place. And yeah, I think as we were talking about exciting technologies, I really think, and maybe now after the pandemic, it will be a little bit more of this, as parents hopefully open up a little bit more to technology. But I think I just want to make sure I put it out there as a coach, an evangelist, that parents should really look into getting match footage and upload it to a service where they can get statistics from it connected to video. And if they want to research those different platforms that do that, it's on tennistechie.com. You go to products, and I think it's match statistics or something like that. But you will find it, and those are the companies that you can upload to and get this back. And the reason I'm saying that is parents are spending so much money, and players are spending so much effort in their practice, and for some reason they're not using this invaluable tool, at least as a starting point for the player and the coach, and something to check up on every now and then, because as we all know, it feels one way, but then when we look at statistics, if we ever tried it, it might look very different than what it feels like. And it's just such an advantage to be able to go in and say that, yes, I am only making 50% first serves, and let's try to improve that. Come back in 3 months, upload another video, and hopefully now it's up to 65, something like that. And until people play around with the statistics connected to video, they will have no idea how powerful it is. Right now, if you go in, you can go in and you can look at all your unforced errors on the backhand back to back. And it can take you 1 minute to watch them, and you can draw a simple conclusion that most of the time when I miss on my backhand, I started too close to the baseline in the middle of a rally, and I had to move back to my left from a righty and hit the ball, and that's where I miss most. And
Yeah, I
that
think
means
there's
that my positioning in the court needs to change.
Yeah, there's no doubt that, teaching open, closed, open, so everything coming from actually playing the game and then drilling down on the things where you need better execution is much better than the other way around, which is the traditional U.S. way of we teach people from baskets and then they go play and they fall apart and we put them back on a basket and say, drill it some more, when it didn't have anything to do with necessarily the way the game was actually played. So a much better style of teaching is, teaching from a tactical perspective and open, closed, open rather than closed, open, closed.
Yep.
Thank you for your time. It was,
no worries. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It was great seeing you and hearing about your latest developments. I'm always fascinated when you post something on Facebook. It's always interesting to me, and I learn a lot by following you and keeping tabs on what you're up to.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and thank you so much for what you guys are doing. It's you're doing so much more than people understand, I think, and I'm sure sometimes you even wonder why you do it, but it's amazing what you guys do. So thank you so much.
We do it because we can't help ourselves. We're called to it.
That's right.
When we're not doing it, we feel like we have to. And I think it's just like being an entrepreneur, you doing the things you're doing in tech, that your life wouldn't be complete if you weren't doing it. So, so thank you for the compliment.
No, thank you guys.
If you're looking to reach Lisa or I, you can reach Lisa at parentingaces.com or me at dueyevans@gmail.com. And Lisa, we're going to be back here again this time next week.
We sure are. And still don't have our guest locked in, but hoping to have another guest to talk about innovations in technology in our sport. So thank you guys for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of the U.S. Open if you've been watching, and if you haven't, you've been missing some great tennis and some great fun. But in any event, have a good week, and we'll see you next time on Tennis Takeaways.